Welcome to Sound and Fury. My name is Eric Wilfred Watson, and I'm a co-host of the Sound and Fury show on Sound and Fury.
And I'm Hugh Frank, and this is my serious face.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
So there is a literary franchise that you may have heard of called Star Trek. They have published a whole crap ton of books. See our previous video called Too Many Star Trek Books for the overview we did before. But I kind of wanted to go back and touch on this topic again because there's some pretty interesting news and some kind of interesting things going on with the Star Trek book universe. So I figured I would annoy my Star Wars fan and start talking about it at great length.
Okay.
This is going to be a very one-sided conversation.
Yes, I'm mostly just going to make faces and probably puns, dad jokes.
Well, that's acceptable.
Yes.
So, like I said, on our previous video, I kind of gave a big overview of how Star Trek books work, but another way of thinking about it is Star Trek books really go into three categories. There's the standalone books that are basically self-contained little episodes that could be something that was, filmed, between episodes 18 and 19 of season 5 or whatever. They're just little self-contained nuggets of entertainment. And then the second category, and that's where the numbered books came in, like when they used to have numbers like book number 27 or whatever, those little self-contained books, and they still publish those. They don't do the numbers anymore, but they still release self-contained little Star Trek stories that are fun little reads, not really connected to anything else, but you can enjoy them for what they are, and I appreciate those.
Right.
The other kind of Star Trek book are like the offshoot books, the spin-offs, the tie-ins, the books that are related to Star Trek, but not really, it's not the Bridge of the Enterprise. You get things like retouching old characters like Gary Seven, which was in the original series. There's books based centric around him, and you get to see other things sort of outside of what's normally on screen. That's sort of category number 2. And I can tell you're riveted by how much you have to say on the subject.
Rivet.
Then the third kind of Star Trek books are, and there's some overlap on these too. I mean, there's exceptions. I mean, the William Shatner books are basically none of these categories.
Spock.
And then there's other Star Trek books that sort of, the old Star Trek books had characters or had a continuity of their own that no longer is paid attention to. Like Spock had a son in the earlier Star Trek books, but they just kind of ignore that. But
wow.
But anyway, the third category of Star Trek books, and this is what I really want to talk about here today, are the relaunch novels. You're contributing so much to this conversation.
Ooh, well, I'm kind of like observing 4th of July fireworks. Ooh. So the relaunch, though, what era is that?
All of them.
All of them. Oh, okay.
No, basically the relaunch novels are, of course, the TV shows had their run. Star Trek The Next Generation lasted 7 years and then it ended. They had the movies and they stopped making those. Right. Deep Space Nine ran for a term. Voyager ran for a term. What the relaunch novels do is they continue those stories where the movies and TV shows left off.
Gotcha.
And you get a whole lot of other good stories that continue on with those characters. Now, there's no original series relaunch novels because they fit in either categories 1 or 2. They're either going to be the self-contained Kirk on the Enterprise story, or they're going to be some sort of spin-off in that universe. But There's no Star Trek original series relaunch because, that's already a self-contained thing to play with. That's already a playground that the authors have to work with.
Right.
There are Enterprise relaunch novels, but they are semi-disconnected because they're in the 22nd century where all the other shows are in the 24th.
In the 24th and a half century!
So being separated by 200 years, they're not going to interact with each other as much.
Makes sense.
But the relaunch novels have been going on for about 20 years, and they've done some pretty interesting things in the relaunch novels. And I just have a couple examples here on my handy-dandy high-tech clipboard.
Woohoo.
In the relaunch novels, you get to see things like the Borg invade the Federation, kill billions of people, destroy Federation worlds, and Captain Catherine Janeway is killed.
Wow, I want to read that one. Yeah. Wait, say the last part again.
Catherine Janeway is killed.
Killed? Not just assimilated,
Killed.
but killed? The
Dead.
worst captain in the history of the Federation? Cool.
In the relaunch books, Picard gets married to Dr. Crusher, and they have a son named Renee.
Okay.
Cisco and Cassidy Yates have a daughter, and she kind of has superpowers. Apparently, she's part wormhole prophet.
Sweet.
The Borg are defeated once and for all. There's no more Borg after the Borg invasion. There's an ultimate victory over the Borg.
This is the Borg invasion. Sorry.
Ezri Dax, the predecessor or the next Dax after Jadzia, gets her own starship.
Cool.
Deep Space Nine is destroyed by the Breen completely and kills about 1,000 people on the station.
Aww.
But they rebuild it, but it's not quite exactly the same.
If you rebuild it, they will come.
Section 31 removes the Federation president from power and then assassinates him. And then Captain Picard later gets implemented in the murder, even though he didn't know it was going to happen.
Wow. Whoopsie. You mean implicated?
Data is the memories that Data uploaded into B4 before he died. Those memories are extracted back out of Data and put into a new android. Then he goes by the name Data Sung.
Okay.
Lots of other stuff, including Q bringing Janeway back to life.
Oh, Q. Don't they
Yeah.
have an affair or something in the one of the episodes of Voyager? Or
No,
he like-
but he sexually harasses her pretty badly.
gotcha.
Janeway to security, intruder alert.
Oh, it's no use. I've taken the proverbial phone off the hook. After all, we don't want any interruption.
Q
Gotcha.
wants to have a kid and decides he wants to mate with Janeway and tries to romance her, and it doesn't really work very well for him.
So who is this kid? Would that be R?
No, Q.
Q. We are.
Everybody in the
bored.
Q continuum is named Q, including a woman who gets jealous.
I'm just not the right kind of woman for you, Q.
Truer words were never spoken.
Q, how did you find me?
Never mind that. What are you doing with that dog? I'm not talking about the puppy.
And then there's a kid named Q. There's actually a Voyager episode where a Q seeks asylum so that he can commit suicide. That's a pretty interesting episode. They have a Q civil war where Qs are fighting Qs. That's pretty interesting. But none of that has anything to do with the relaunch novels, except for that Q comes back in them.
Okay.
But the reason I wanted to bring up the relaunch novels is because something similar is happening to the Star Trek books that happened to Star Wars. And that's they've created something else on film that completely contradicts all of it.
Oh, well, there we go. Welcome to the Star Wars universe, Star Trek.
In Star Wars, they call it Legends,
Yes.
I believe.
Because they
Where-
wanted to bring back Chewbacca.
But in Legends, the Disney Corporation basically said, enough of that, we're going to do our own canon books, and Legends we're just going to pretend that never happened. And they never
Right.
gave it a conclusion. They just stopped making them. There's a lot of plot threads that just got left unanswered.
Bum, 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 bum.
They're not going to do that with the Star Trek relaunch novels.
It's going to be a multiverse.
Kind of.
With quantum
So
torpedoes.
the last I almost said multiverse. The last relaunch novel that was published was Star Trek: The Next Generation's Collateral Damage.
Ooh, that was
that
an Arnold
book-
Schwarzenegger movie.
Yes, well, it was also a Tom Cruise movie.
Oh,
No, that was just Collateral. Never mind.
that was. Oh, well, I'm damaged.
It was pretty
from thinking
damaging to
about it.
watch though because
Yeah.
of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, was he jumping up and down on a couch and screaming at Oprah?
Probably.
Okay, I think he does that in all his movies.
But no, they actually intentionally decided not to do to Star Trek fans what Disney did to Star Wars fans and actually give the relaunch novels a conclusion and then start
Ah.
working on the other novels that are in line with what's been filmed so that the fans that have been spending money on these books and reading them for 20 years aren't just left hanging in the wind.
Right. Gotcha.
And they just published a couple days ago the first of a trilogy called Star Trek Coda.
Oh.
Which is going to conclude as like this whole series finale. It's going to conclude the entire relaunch universe of books and give it an
Sweet.
actual ending.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm very excited about that. The 3 books are Star Trek Coda Book 1, words on a paper.
It's easy
that I
for
can't
you to
read
say.
I know, right? Book 1, Moments Asunder. I couldn't say the word moments for some reason.
Yeah.
That's
a
by
hard
Dayton
one.
Ward, who's written a lot of other Star Trek books.
Okay.
That came out September 28th,
Wow. Okay.
which
So,
was very recently.
yes.
I bought a copy. It's not on my bookshelf. I bought a digital copy, and I'm reading it on my tablet, and I'm about a third of the way through it, and it's excellent so far.
Excellent.
Book number 2 comes out October 26th, and it's called The Ashes of Tomorrow, and it's by James Swallow, who's also written some very good Star Trek books. The last one will be book 3, called Oblivion's Gate, by David Mack, who's written a ton of really good Star Trek books. He's a prolific Star Trek author. That comes out November 10th. And Dayton Ward, who's written the first of the trilogy, was the one on an interview online where he basically said that they didn't want to do to the fans what Star Wars did and just left them hanging with no resolution. So that they actually, in the beginning of the book, they have like a big list,
you, Disney.
right? In the beginning of this first Coda book, they have like a list of things that have happened in the relaunch novels, kind of hinting at what they're going to conclude in this. So I'm really happy that they're going to do that. Plus, it gives us a reboot of the Star Trek universe. So with the show Picard, they're going to start building a whole big book universe again from this point forward, which makes it more accessible to fans that want to start reading Star Trek books. They don't have to worry about a gigantic continuity that they'll get lost in,
Right.
especially now that even though it's huge, it's actually finished. There will be in November. So there's like 100+ books, but that's the whole series. So it's actually concluded. And I think that's even though, it's sad to see things you like end,
Right.
I'm very happy that it's ending in a satisfactory way, and then it will be a self-contained piece of Star Trek that will always be there.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. It'll follow all the Stark kids going in the different directions. Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong book series. Sorry. That one will never be finished.
Is there anything that you've always wanted to ask me? Because, George, I will.
Yes, there is something I want to ask you.
All right.
How the do you write so many books so fast?
Yep. But really, that's all I have to say about that. So I want to thank you for watching our YouTube channel. And as always, please subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors and family, climb up to the tallest building with a megaphone and start yelling out the window. Sound and Fury is the best YouTube show I've ever seen. I subscribe to it. And if you don't subscribe to it, a giant meteor is going to destroy the earth.
You know who else didn't subscribe to our channel? Adolf Hitler.
That's true.
Yes.
Stalin didn't subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Pol Pot.
Yeah, he didn't subscribe either. That wasn't very nice of him.
Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, Santa Claus didn't subscribe, so
yeah,
we just put Santa Claus on the same list as Hitler. So there's something wrong with this conversation.
Well, it's kind of creepy.
But don't be like
climb
them.
down all those
Subscribe
chimneys.
to our channel. Buy my book. It's on Amazon. You can spend money on it, and I'll be happy.
It's good. I read it once. It was awesome.
All right. Well, that's all I have to say about that, folks. So with that, may the Force be with you.
Yes. Use the Force, Proto.
Yes, I have some unfortunate news. Your grandfather is with his ancestors tonight, drinking blood wine in Stobacor.
Oh, what does that mean?
He dead.